Stay tuned for sports.
Keeping Score with Jess and Dean, the Dream.
It is Sunday, February 25th. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
The last Sunday in February.
Yeah, it's funny because we do a once-a-week show, so we're going to say goodbye to February today, even though there's still another week left in February because this is it for us.
It's a
we
leap
do
year.
we do our show next week. It's already March.
I know.
It's March Madness.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I think it's... I've argued with John Saranides in the past. He's a pigskin guy, and so am I.
Yeah.
But I say that March Madness is the best 3 weeks of the year.
Oh,
I just love it.
me too.
And I believe it starts not just when the NCAA tournament with the best 68. I'm talking about like Big East tournament, ACC. When the tournaments, because a lot of those, that's part of March Madness. That's you have to win to get to it. Some of those teams have to run the table in those postseason tournaments just to make the dance.
Right.
So I just love that time of year.
Speaking of dancing, did you dance with Mama G at Antonio's on Thursday night?
No.
Wait, I would like to read to you texts from Mama G to Jess and Jess. Having an espresso martini with Dean the Dream. I said, well, isn't he lucky? Mama G, I just want to jump over the bar and hug him, LOL. Jess, enjoy and drive safely.
Graphic jumping over the bar.
I said, tell him to give you a hug. And she put, LOL, he's too busy.
No
So-
spell check for Mama G.
No, and the espresso. And I tried to tell her, I'm like, it's espresso, E-S, there's no X. She wants the X, gonna give it to her. That's
She
it.
actually came in right when I got the one push. It was just one push that night. So it was like boom, boom, one hit, and that was it. It was done nice and early. And it was, of course, me and Lou took it home. It was Lou at the end of the bar hoping for a body to roll through the door. Sorry, Lou. I'm locking it. Even though it's against the law, I'm locking it from the inside. You're not supposed to lock the doors until everybody's out. But
it's
no,
Lou.
it's over. Lou, it's over.
You would think day after day it would be.
And he always looks shocked. I'm like, Lou, it's over. There's not a body in sight. Like the guys in the kitchen, it's Miller time. It's over. The fryer late is off.
The drawer.
The fryer late is off.
Yeah,
it's over.
Doesn't matter.
We didn't knock it out of the park today. We're renovating the back room, so we're a little tight right now. But we get through. We have the good nights and bad nights.
You know
that's
what
just
I learned
the way it goes.
from Meredith? I didn't know that back room was open for regular dining on the weekends. I thought that was exclusively for private parties.
No, so it won't hurt us during the week because we don't use it anyways. But it's nice to have that in case you get real busy in the front room to say, well, I don't have a table, but I can put you in the back room.
Yeah.
Some people just want to eat. They don't care.
Now they may want to be in the back room more.
Right. Well, now Fridays and Saturdays, we do fill that room.
Yeah.
Sometimes on a Friday with reservations, we don't max it out, but on Saturdays, it's booked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the next month, there's going to be some breaks for some guys, maybe me. That I don't have to, I've got a couple of fill-in shifts I won't have to do.
Are you going to be okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to start a GoFundMe page or something?
I do not.
Well, what's with all the renovations? Our other spot, PJ's Pub, is doing renovations. What's going on? You guys should have done this separately.
We should have collaborated with each other?
We can't have both at the same time. That's not right.
I ran into Tiffany the other night, and it turns out she's already itching to get back to work. She says they open March 4th or 5th, so they're coming back soon. So before you know it, they'll be good to go. So that's good news. Paulie's got a lot going on. Our friends at PJ's. I miss it, but it's a nice little break, and I've decided, too, for the first time in 32 years at the Antonio's, to take a second vacation week.
Whoa, well,
Yeah.
what are you going to be doing?
What am I holding on for?
I don't know, because you love Lou and Mama G and her espresso martinis.
Like Elaine says it during the cockfight late at night. She was, Jerry, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm at a cockfight.
He's talking about birds. He's talking about cock-a-doodle-doo.
Graphic correction.
Talking about roosters.
But she's like, Jerry, I'm at a cockfight at 3 in the morning. What am I clinging to? Me, it's like 32 years. What's the end game? It's like, so I've decided now that I'm going to keep November open.
Okay.
For that automatic week, just in case we do the baseball trip again and guys stop being babies that are in their 50s.
You're starting off hot
and
today.
we go away again next year. So I'm keeping November open for the possibility of that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to mix it up and bridge it with another week. And I've decided to do either the week coming up very soon, actually, of the Big East tournament to have.
Will you go to New York?
No, you and I got some things going on that week. That's the week of the 13th. So I just want to have that open for myself, or I might take the week after, which, again, we're going to be on location. We got a lot going on.
I know.
So I'm taking one of those 2 weeks off, and it doesn't mean I have to really go anywhere, just a little me time.
Maybe at the end of the show, we'll tell everybody what our secrets are, like maybe on TV and live broadcasts.
Well, we're going to stop pumping it.
Yeah.
So we're very busy. We're going to take care of business here first, and at the end of the show, we're going to give some people, our listenership, some very good news.
Very good news.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just jump right into it. How about that? We are going to start with the NFL, even there's not that much, but we do have some stuff to talk about.
all the people that I talk to, they speak very highly of AVP. Obviously, he understands the X's and O's of the game, but also developing talent. And really, he is a relationship guy, which I fundamentally believe is very important. Before you really get into X's and O's with the guys on the field, they got to know that you care about them. And one thing about AVP, which you guys will see here shortly, he is a people person, but also with an extensive knowledge of football.
AVP! Alex Van Pelt. So you know Mayo is a big fan of nicknames, Thunder, AVP.
Yeah.
What else we got going on? You mentioned last week you're not that much of a fan of Mr. Van Pelt.
No, and listen, I'm always about to grind it out, win the game 17-13, run the football, move the chains. But when you're talking about winning championships predicated on running the football in this day and age, in this era, now obviously right now he doesn't see many weapons on the offensive side of the ball with receivers, so maybe you have to tweak it a little bit and run the ball a little bit more. But he sounds like a guy who wants to run the ball 40 times a game, and I don't think that's the recipe for success. You know, Stevenson could have a big year, a bounce back year. I think he was a little off this year. Didn't have the players around him. But again, if you don't have an offensive line, you're not going to be able to run the football, so it really doesn't matter.
So we have another clip from Hart talking about AVP and Mac Jones.
It would stun me if Mac Jones was back with this team. It's funny because the description of the quarterback that Alex Van Pelt likes, I think, sounded like Mac Jones coming out of Alabama, but doesn't sound like Mac Jones after I watched him play the last 2 seasons in New England in terms of mental toughness and leadership, even accuracy, which became a negative for him at times over the last couple of years with turnovers and interceptions and bad balls. So I think it was sort of coach speak or honeymoon period, whatever. No need to alienate him. As your guy Tom Curran likes to say, he is still a cost-effective young quarterback who a couple years ago was a Pro Bowler and a couple years ago was a good player. So why alienate him? Why end it now and say he stinks, he's gone?
So I'm very interested in what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks, especially hearing that.
It is interesting, and I agree with Andy Hart, especially that last part about the accuracy, which I think was a little disappointing the last 2 years. I think the first year we saw a guy that at least made nice decisions, good decisions, could take care of the football. Not going to light the scoreboard up. Like I said, a little bit of Chad Pennington with that arm strength, but I thought he would be more effective and make good decisions. We didn't see that the past 2 seasons. Again, not going to, I want to defend him, but I mean, three coordinators in 3 years, that's not easy.
Correct.
So you got to give him a little bit of, rhythm on that. But I didn't like his attitude. There were a lot of things I didn't like about Mac Jones. I've said it, Jess, we saw enough in this 4-13 season between him and Zappe. The quarterback is not there right now. I don't know who's going to come in, whether it's going to be that third pick. I believe they should not overthink it and just sit there at 3 and take the best quarterback available, not the best player available, the best quarterback that's available, whether it's Drake May, Jaden Daniels, whatever. If something goes with Caleb Williams, if there's a trade, who knows?
I didn't know how much Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe didn't get along to the point where, and I watched Hard Knocks, so you see all the quarterbacks in one room, they're watching film. They were never in the same room together.
That's odd.
Right?
That's odd.
So they said that Zappe was in other rooms with other players, and then Mac was by himself.
Right.
Because, they had so many Corral and all those guys come
but
through.
But Jess, don't forget, obviously, Zappe, not that they were equals, but Zappe's not far behind Mac. He wasn't a first-round pick. He was a fourth-round pick. But still, he's obviously feeling like, you know what? Mac's looking over his shoulder at number 4 saying, I could lose my job to this guy. I think if you saw Hard Knocks, Aaron Rodgers was brought in because the kid next to him, Zach Wilson, couldn't play.
Yeah.
And I think Zach had to say and do all the right things or else he'd be out of there. And, of course, the kid Boyle was the third string. So you saw a different quarterback room there. They all knew who the guy was.
Right.
And, of course, unfortunately, the horrific injury in week 1.
Ruined everything.
Yeah, you don't want to see that in your quarterback room. I believe both guys, like I said, maybe Zappe showed enough to be the number 2 guy going forward, but Mac's got to go. Mac probably won't be a Patriot week 1. The only reason why I think he possibly could be is what Hart said, is that he's still cost efficient and he's still got a cheap rookie contract. So
you'd put your franchise tag on Mac Jones, right?
No.
I can't even say that with a straight face. So you did in our prep say, all right, if there's anybody on this Patriots team, who would you put the franchise tag on? And I was going to say Matthew Slater, but he's decided to retire. So my choice was actually Bourne.
Okay. So No. That's not. I'm not going to laugh at that. You laughed. Listen. Before the injury, I think he's a guy that I would agree with you probably. But I mean, he had the leg injury, the ACL. So I mean, I'm not franchise tagging a guy. You should be able to just sign him.
Right.
You should be able to sign him for cheap money. I've heard him already being interviewed. He's talked about wanting to stay in New England. He's been working out, and he does want a chance to come back. And I thought Bourne did some nice things.
I'll franchise his good leg. How about that?
Oh, this is difficult. No, I'm going to go on the names that we are hearing bandied about. There's been a couple of guys. I mean, we joke about how bad this team is. You know, your best players, the two guys that got hurt early in the year, which was Christian Gonzalez. He's on his rookie deal. You don't have to worry about him. Matthew Judon, who's in the middle of a long-term deal, there's been some rumors about maybe moving him, which would show that they're in a total rebuild mode if you're going to trade Matthew Judon, who's a terrific player. The names that I've been hearing, Jess, would be someone like Kyle Duggar, a guy who's, a really good safety, but is he worth, it looks like at that. Now, don't forget, anybody who doesn't understand what the term franchise tag means, it means if you sign that guy, obviously you can franchise him. It's almost like you can keep him captive for a year, but he also, at that point, now you have to pay him within the top 5 at that position. So Duggar would make in the neighborhood of like $16 million. Is Duggar a $16 million safety? He's good. So. He's good. So he's one of the guys. I like Duggar. Okay. I like him at 10 or 11. I don't like him at 16. The other name that I've been hearing about, and I think you like him, you don't think he got the ball enough, was Hunter Henry.
Yes.
He's a free agent, but they could franchise tag him and keep him for another year.
He always produced.
So now at least you got that tight end position. Then maybe you worry about the tight end position.
2 times.
in the draft. Maybe like Gesicki Walk, he was useless.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Henry's a guy that maybe I would think about keeping. So those are a couple of names. And the other guy on the offensive line would be Onwenu, who's basically their most athletic offensive lineman. He can move all over the line. They should pay him according to what he's worth. Now, depending on what you consider his position, he's played right tackle, right guard. Now, with Trent Brown being gone, you move him over to the left side.
So sad.
You're not going to pay him, left tackle money. So there's a question of what is his position. I don't know how that all works. But he's a guy I'd hate to see go because he's one of your top linemen to go along with David Andrews, the center. They're going to have to revamp that offensive line.
It's a hot mess.
Yeah.
What's not a hot mess is it was announced this week, and we knew it was coming. Matthew Slater, after 16 seasons, decided to retire. Makes sense. He's one of the most loved Patriots, consistent, and we have a little audio from him.
A lot of people would look at the high-profile players on the team, like the quarterbacks and the running backs and all the special players that you hear their names called all the time. But I worked in that environment with a bunch of guys who weren't the stars. They was just the backbone of the club. I grew to appreciate what rank and file effort brings to the table when it comes to trying to be a champion. And so I think guys like my son here are always going to be the backbone of clubs.
I think of my dad as one of the all-time greats. I just trying to hold my own out there,
You're doing a fine job of it. You're doing a mighty fine job of it. I couldn't be more proud.
I didn't know there was a little Slater that was playing. Oh, you were getting a little worked up. Do you need a Kleenex?
No, but it is no. I'm a little emotional. No, we're on YouTube. I'm not blowing your nose like you did 5 weeks ago when you almost lost a lung.
I was congested.
You were. That's why you didn't YouTube it. No, it's funny. I mentioned this to you a few weeks back. About a month ago, we were talking about Slater. That was his dad, obviously Jackie Slater, talking about his son. So in that situation, I think I had told you that he's his father, and I did some homework on it. And I don't know if this will be the first time ever. There's a chance at some point, Matthew Slater. They don't just throw special teamers into the Hall of Fame, but he could get in someday. Like Steve Tasker for the Bills years ago, great player. Only so many of those guys get in. Punters, kickers, they don't get in. There are not many of them, especially gunners. Right. But he's one of the best at his position for 16 years. Okay, and his dad Jackie Slater, I did research it, and his father is in the Hall of Fame. I remember when I mentioned it a couple of months ago. I said I wasn't sure if he was in the Hall of Fame. This could be the first time father and son in the Hall of Fame. If Matthew were to get in eventually, I don't know if they have the 5-year window like they do in baseball. You have to be retired for 5 years, but the body of work is there. 5th round pick out of UCLA as a wide receiver. Didn't really work out as a wide receiver in New England, but he found his niche as a special teamer. 191 career tackles and 1 touchdown. I don't remember the actual touchdown, but it had to be a fluky play. It wasn't as a wide receiver, I don't believe. But 3-time Super Bowl champ, 10 Pro Bowls, 5 times he was named first team All-Pro at his position.
That's crazy.
So you look at him, and of course his dad was very proud of him. Was a left tackle.
I thought it was his son. Yeah.
No, he was a left tackle for the left tackle for the Rams for years. He is in the Hall of Fame. Totally different body. You got Matthew Slater, was the tall, wiry kid coming out of UCLA, and the father's, was 6'5", 360, like totally different play. Jackie Slater, great player. So it's a great career, and he's going to do great things. He did great things in the community while he was in New England. A class act all the way. He's going to do great things. Maybe someday he comes back on the staff. Maybe not right away because he's still familiar with the players.
Yeah.
But maybe a couple of years from now he gets back in the coaching because he can do anything he wants. He's one of the great Patriots of all time, and obviously the second longest tenured Patriot of all time to Tom Brady.
That's crazy. And you know what the funniest thing is like back in the day when I wasn't watching as closely, and Matthew Slater here, there, and I'd be watching games. I'm like, where is this Matthew Slater? Like, I don't see him catching balls. So obviously special teams didn't get as much as the respect, but like he was consistent as a leader. He was unbelievable.
I think that's also just if you're watching a game and you're in the trenches and you really follow it and you understand the game. You look at some of those guys on the defensive line where maybe Aaron Donald for the Rams had 2 tackles in a game. But did he set the edge or make a play for someone else to make the play because they double teamed him? So maybe Slater on special teams was the guy everybody was looking at. He was the gunner. So obviously maybe he wasn't making 10 tackles a game.
Right.
There were other guys that were doing it, but his role was defined, and he did it better than anyone else.
Speaking of players doing it better than anyone else, I don't know if do you have Apple TV? This is a stupid question. I actually want to retract that statement.
What?
The Dynasty, you have to watch it.
No, I was gonna talk to you about that. I mean, you were at my house for a production meeting the other day. Would that be something like maybe you'd have to come over and order it for me? And then I can take it after I'm done with it, though, right? Can I order it and then get rid of it, or they don't let you do that?
Oh, God.
What are we doing over here?
We have a lot to talk about.
All right, because it sounds great. It sounds great.
Yes, I'm going to have to put this on my list.
What, you have Apple?
Yeah. You want to come over and snuggle with Pork Chop and watch it?
Maybe.
It is so good. All right,
I heard it's terrific.
It is
Talk to me.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
So I actually have a clip from Edelman talking about the Dynasty and the top 5 memories or plays. I can't remember exactly. But I'm going to have to figure it out for you. Here we go.
Julian, what are the top 5 moments you're looking forward to most seeing in the Dynasty on Apple TV+?
1, young Brady. I want to see some young Brady, see when he was like a normal human. 2, if they got some good relationship stuff with Randy and Bill, that's always fun. Funniest thing I got to see when I was involved there. 3, early Belichick footage is always good. 4, Super Bowl wins. I want to hear what everyone's thoughts are, specifically after the 6th one. I want to hear what they're all talking about. Number 5, last one. I want to hear and see Coach Belichick and Tom talk.
Oh, so I don't know. There's been 2 episodes. So actually, Friday. So there's 4 episodes. Whatever it is, I wanted to watch all 10 in a row, and I couldn't because it is that good. It is so well produced.
Do you have the option to do that? Or no, I'm asking you to come once a week. Or could you binge it?
So it's two every Friday.
Oh, so 2 a pop.
Yeah,
you can do it in
but
5.
I didn't know that. I thought I could watch all 10, and so I watched 2, and I'm like, damn it! Whereas it is so good. I would have stayed up all night and watched every single episode. It is excellent. So Edelman's talking about the top 5 things. Obviously, my biggest question was going to be, do we find out about, and unfortunately, I do have the news.
It's Malcolm Butler. You want to know why? God, nobody will let that one go until you would think someone would tip their hand by now. Belichick's not the coach anymore.
Right.
Brady's not the quarterback anymore. You would think guys would just sing like a canary. You'd sing like a canary at this point. Yeah, it's crazy. That still no one will talk about that.
How do you not cover that? Like, so they're saying that.
I've heard rumors.
Yeah. I've heard rumors too.
Right.
And
so where there's smoke, there's fire. But I don't believe some of the things I heard are a little far fetched. But I mean, I don't know. we could say it on 790 The Score. But I've heard everything
like
from that. I've heard everything from he was smoking marijuana that night and went out. And, I heard another one.
That's nothing.
He was with Belichick's daughter. Does Belichick have a daughter?
Well, it's stepdaughters.
Okay.
Yeah. The very good. I'll show you them later. Oh. You'll be a big fan of Linda's kids. Oh. They're twins.
Oh, well, I didn't hear he was with both of them, but there's a rumor that he went with one.
Well, that would make sense. He probably was exhausted.
I mean, I haven't had twins yet, but I mean,
Jesus. But where are we going? That's wishful thinking. Anyway, so
what about the sister of them? All right, no, listen. All right,
keep it. Jesus. All right, we're gonna keep it clean. But I was I'm going to jot that down for 19 minutes in. I was looking forward to some insight, and I feel as though in this documentary, you're proud of yourself. You keep looking back at Steve. He's like, Steve left.
I'm sorry, you were in the middle of some good flow.
No, I don't even know. See, I feel like you now because
right, because you've been sort of like the prankster. Like when I'm in my flow, it's like a little interrupted but funny. I've been rolling. I think it's great. I think it's great for the brand.
Okay, good.
But no,
We're the only ones watching and listening.
The Malcolm Butler thing. The Malcolm Butler thing.
So my thing was all right. So you dress him, you put him in for one play. You have him crying on the sideline, which I thought on the sideline when he was crying, it was because of the national anthem. Later, then we find out. And then the biggest thing for me is you don't play him in the Super Bowl, but you keep him on the team. Like, he stayed for the next season. So was that your punishment? Like, were you so hell-bent on keeping him? Like, we had to lose a Super Bowl because of it to the Eagles?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah.
So I need to find out. Malcolm Butler says there's going to be... He said there was going to be a documentary, which I'm assuming he's talking about the dynasty. And then he said there's going to be a book. So is he going to put it in the book? Is he saving it for that?
I don't know. And by the way, don't forget, he was also brought back for a second stint, got hurt, and ended up playing.
Right.
But because he signed with, I think he went to the
Tennessee.
He went with Tennessee, and then I think he went to the Cardinals as a free agent, and then came to New England after that, and then got hurt and never played for us. But my point is, whatever went down so disturbing, it didn't preclude him from coming back.
Right.
So Bill picked up the phone and said, "Come back," and he did.
I know. That
so I don't know. I've heard many different things, but the bottom line is, did it cost us a Super Bowl? I mean, the defense was awful in that game. I mean, the pencil had no answers.
Yeah.
But nobody could stop anybody. There's some Eric Rowe and the boys out there. Batamosi was some pretty bad cornerbacks out there. He was having a tough year that year, Butler, though. He wasn't really. I know he played the whole year, but he was consistent. He was on that side, and he maybe could have made a play or two. It could have made the difference.
Right, and it might have thrown everybody else off because they're used to him being in there and the way he played. All right, but anyway, so we're gonna have to figure this out on how to get you Apple TV.
Yeah, no, I would love to.
Do you have all right, this is a stupid question. Do you have a smart TV downstairs?
Yes.
All right.
I know the answer to
that.
Yes. Upstairs and
Let's
downstairs.
do it.
Upstairs and downstairs.
You do?
Yes.
All right. So then I'll just come over and I think I can let you have mine. I think we can share it. I don't know if I want to do that.
Share
God
your
only knows
TV?
what you'll be buying. No, sharing the account, not the TV. And this is the problem. I'm just going to take your TV off the wall. I'm going to put my TV up. We're going to watch it, and then I'm going to take it down. I'm going to drive home. No, I will. You need to watch it. So we're going to have to figure. I got to put that down on my list of things to do this week. That's something. All right. So last thing about football, as you're looking at me perplexed, target for a free agent. Is there anybody that the Patriots should have their eye on?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have holes everywhere, but obviously wide receiver. If they can go wide receiver and pick up, they have money.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking Mike Evans. I'm not big on a 32-year-old guy, and I love Evans. 1,000 yards, 10 straight years with many different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He had Jameis Winston. Of course, he had the immortal Tom Brady thrown to him, so that wasn't that difficult.
Right.
But he's had, of course,
Baker.
Mayfield this year. No matter who's been his quarterback, he's always caught it for 1,000 yards. I feel like a guy like that's already had 10 years, I stay away from those guys because I feel like they already had their 10 years. The chance of getting 3-4 years out of them, it's a long shot. The guy I want someone younger, that if I'm going to spend $20 million on a receiver, I'm not saying Cincinnati's going to give him up, but if they don't franchise him, I'm looking at a kid like T. Higgins. 4 years in the league, first pick of the second round in 2020. He's obviously the number 2 in Cincinnati behind Jamar Chase.
Yep.
Would come over to New England. I think he could be a legit number 1 on a good team. I love Higgins. He's big, he's tall, 6'4", 220. He's only 25 years old, 257 receptions in his first 4 seasons for about 3,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, and I look at his body of work. 4 years in the league, games played, 16, 14, 16, and of course 12 this year. He did miss 5 games, but he's durable, he's big, he's athletic, and I think he's the guy that I would target. If I'm going to spend $15 to $20 million on a wide receiver, that's the guy I like.
So you didn't think Schuster had that kind of year?
What? I mean, that was
great.
that was abysmal. That was terrible.
I think he had 12, 13 yards.
and what I would like about Higgins, of course, I'm putting the cart in front of the horse. He may not want to come to New England. He's going to want to see who the quarterback is first, probably. But at least now at 3, I'm telling you go quarterback no matter what. But of course, there's rumors at 3 they could go Marvin Harrison Jr. At least now, if you go quarterback at 3. Now you go, you sign your receiver in free agency. You take a little bit of your of the other money that you have left over because they got a lot of money, that's been capped.
Quick.
Well, they got some salary cap. They're not under it. They can spend some money. I'm looking at some. You go get an offensive tackle, a left tackle. You look at some guys that are out there. Donovan Smith. There's some players that you can fix the offensive line with because that's gonna be a pressing need. But obviously they have to have a good draft. But Higgins is the guy right now that I'm looking at, and I've heard his name mentioned that there could be some mutual interest with New England.
All right.
He's going to want to get paid right now at this point, and that could be a tough loss for Joe Burrow, a team that's a Super Bowl ready team.
Yeah.
Burrow didn't get hurt last year, so let's see what happens. They could franchise him, I believe, and then he wouldn't be able to go anywhere for.
Then he'd be trapped.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to wrap up? See, I hate wrapping it up with this story with the Kansas City. They signed a new punter.
Well, before we do that, we'll say, by the way, I want a memo to Justin Fields. Stop complaining because you're getting frustrated with the trade talk room. If you played better the first 3 years, maybe you wouldn't be on the block right now. Look for a trade possibly to Atlanta or Pittsburgh. Those are the destinations. We've talked about Kenny Pickett for a couple of years in Pittsburgh. I believe Fields will be a nice fit there. Pickett, his first 2 years, 13 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and he's been on and off the field. It hasn't been working. The rumor, the experts, they like Atlanta and Pittsburgh as a fit for Fields. It looks like he will be traded, and I'm tired of hearing him say that he doesn't like the trade talk. Well, play better.
Well, maybe because he unfollowed the Bears on all social media, and he's like, I'm on vacation. I didn't want to see it. Well, if you're on vacation, get off your freaking phone.
Yeah, really.
Like, give me a break.
Yeah,
Go have some fun.
There's still some upside there with Fields, but I think it's safe to say I've seen enough in his 3 years. I know he's had different coordinators, different coaches, and not a lot of weapons around him, but the kid DJ Moore was a weapon. He threw the ball to him. They had a nice little synergy going there. I've seen enough of Fields to know that he could run an offense. I think he'd be perfect in Pittsburgh. That's a good division. You're playing against some good teams. Be very competitive. I think it'd be a nice play for Pittsburgh. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think you're ever going to say he's a franchise quarterback.
Okay, very good to know. And then I like him. I would take him.
Yeah.
I would take him and then take Harrison.
Well, hold on. We've got the time here because we're not, obviously with football being
we're 26 minutes
it's
in.
Unbelievable, isn't it? But no, it's Jess, seriously, you say you look.
We have to talk about your crappy Red Sox.
Right, well, that's mean.
And true.
That's mean-spirited. No, when you're talking about, you say you like him, then I'm going to stop you and I'm going to ask you, obviously when you say you like him, means you would like him in Foxborough.
I would.
Okay, so do you have,
I like that he has legs, that he can move, he can run.
So obviously.
He has beautiful eyes.
Okay. All right. I love you. That's meaningless. But okay. No, but I mean, the Bears are ready to go here. They got the number 1 pick and the number 9 pick. So they're sitting back saying, like, all right, and now if they trade Fields, they're going to get more assets.
Right.
If the Pats at 3, what's some deal would have to be maneuvered. What's he worth? I believe his value to me, if you would trade for him tomorrow, he's worth a 2nd-round pick, maybe a 4th-round pick.
Okay.
I don't care if he was top 10 in the draft. He is what he is right now. He's worth a 2nd and a 4th. That's what I believe he is. 4th or a 5th-round pick. So you got to give up to get. So I'm saying that the Patriots are not going to give up that 3 pick to get him.
I know, but I also you have to understand, like, sometimes these 3 picks don't work out. At least he's been in the league before. He knows what it's like. You could go in and then, what was it, Richardson? That got
he knows
hurt.
what it's like. He's 10-26 in 3 years.
Well, I like someone that's on the field. You just don't know what you're going to get with these college kids, and I think right now with this younger generation, they're not built the same, and you have to handle them a different way. And I'm glad we have Mayo for that, but I'm not sure if they go in there and like it's another Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
Who knows what you're gonna get?
I'll never forget our first week on Pro FM, well over a year now. It was the game against the Bears where, of course, the Bears stunk on ice, and we watched him just run around us. And from that day on, you kept saying the Patriots not very good against running quarterbacks. He shredded the Pats. And he's not even really a running quarterback. He's a pocket quarterback who can run.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think he had his best game. I think he had his best game ever. That was a nice The Zappy experiment kind of like fizzled a little when he couldn't get the ball over the line in the second half.
Well.
But I think we saw that peaked. But no,
it started positive.
I like Fields. I don't think I like him as much as you, but we'll see how it all plays out.
All right, very good. And then to wrap up football, now that we're 28 minutes in, do you want to cover the Kansas City, their new punter? Do we want to get into very serious stuff?
Very briefly. The kid, obviously, Kansas City just signed punter Matt Araiza. Okay, if I'm saying it correctly. I just remember 2 or 3 years ago in 22 when he was drafted by the Bills, and they cut him after an alleged rape case against a 17-year-old girl. And I'm shocked because I didn't think anybody would take the PR hit. I am surprised that Kansas City would. I know you joke about Mahomes' brother getting in trouble and the father getting in trouble. This is in between the lines. Now, you're talking about signing a punter. I know he's just a punter, but like the kid Townsend, their starting punter is a free agent. He's an unrestricted free agent, and he's very good. He's an all-pro, so they might lose him, not have that cap
So they want
space.
to be prepared.
Yeah, and I don't like this move. I wouldn't want to take the PR hit. I don't think he's worth it. For a team, a storied franchise that's now in the middle of a dynasty, I don't like it, even though I do believe in second chances.
I don't know enough about the story, but to me, if Kansas City signed him, there must have been some other news that came out, like maybe it was
the case was dropped and all that. Yeah, but I think with his smoke, there's fire, and it's like, to me, like, and I just hate even the word. Right. I mean, I will say sexual assault. I don't like the word that begins with R.
Right.
If I hear that word, I can't get past it. I just don't want him.
Exactly.
And I know it's tough to put a label on someone, but I'm sorry. I don't like it. I'm glad the Patriots didn't sign him. I don't. You got to really weigh the public relation hit that you take on something like that.
I'm very interested how they're going to follow up with that.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see. But we have
right away. The first thing I'm thinking about is sort of like when the Bruins signed that kid Miller a couple years ago. And that was just something he said, actually, not something he did with his hands.
Right.
It was an opinion or what he believed his beliefs were about certain people. So you put that stain on someone. I don't know how you walk that one back.
Well, Ben Roethlisberger seemed to get away with it for a pretty good amount of time. All right, yeah, no, that's not what. Anyway, all right. So let's thank our sponsors before we get into any other trouble, and then we're going to cover the NBA and the awesome All-Star game. Sarcasm.
Score with Jess and Dean the Dream, sponsored by
Generations Adult Day Health Center. Generations is a day facility in Smithfield that provides services to meet the needs of adults with disabilities and the elderly. Their staff provides a range of adult day health services, such as case management, nursing, healthcare, nutrition, and more. At Generations, you're taken care of with registered nurses, certified nursing assistants, and plenty of direct care support staff on the floors at all times. With nearly 30,000 square feet of space, the state-of-the-art facility includes an open dining room, spacious physical and occupational therapy suites, a fully equipped gym and exercise room, and a TV movie theater, just to name a few. To find out more, visit generationsri.com. That's generationsri.com. Prout Mechanical in Providence, a family-owned and operated business. They provide HVAC installations, replacements, and maintenance services. They also offer indoor quality services to make sure that your home remains healthy and safe. They have licensed and trained technicians to keep up with industry standards and technology. They're also an authorized Mitsubishi Electric Diamond Elite contractor, so they can provide the best heating and cooling solutions. So get in touch with them today. Visit ProutHVAC.com. That's ProutHVAC.com, or call them at 487-4343 for a free estimate. It's the hidden gem in the historic district of East Greenwich, the Oaks Tavern on Duke Street, a laid-back, welcoming atmosphere with some of the lowest drink prices in town. Described as a grade A dive bar, complete with free pool, a jukebox, air hockey, and a great place to meet after work. It's a place where the staff treats everyone like regulars, and regulars treat you like family. Visit the last hometown tavern in East Greenwich. Check out the Oaks Tavern, serving cold beer since 1896.
So I like our game now. The one thing I would really like to see is they play hard tonight in this All-Star game. I think it's very important when you have the best players in the world together. You got to compete, and you got to play hard, and you got to show the fans how good they really are.
And they said, bleep you, Larry Bird. We're going to do what we want.
My idol?
I know, the legend. What do you
product.
think that, I mean...
211 points.
Hey, at least the East one.
That's difficult. I mean,
it was like shooting from half court. It was, I know they're not going to play, and I know that they don't want to get hurt. But then then what's the point? I know everyone wants to see all the stars together, and they want to have the show be put on, but this has never happened like this in the history of watching the All-Star game. You know, like back in the day when we used to watch Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic and Kareem. This is just like no one cares.
No. I mean, there was one play I noticed, and I only could see highlights. I couldn't watch it. I'm sorry. I know I have a job to do here. But on the first 100 points, I think the over-under was 369. That ended up being 4. It was almost 397 was the total, I think.
Oh.
And so it went over, but not by that much. So obviously they knew it was going to be high scoring.
Right.
I saw one play. I think it was Joker and maybe Luka.
They came throw.
And I always used to say, like, if you were a coach, you're on the fast break. The best fast break is when you don't even see the ball hit the ground. But there was no resistance. They just kept flipping it back to each other, and they were doing it in slow motion. It was brutal. There was like 8 passes back and forth. It was like watching Hoosiers again. And then finally, like, of course, somebody got a bunny with like uncontested. It was difficult to watch.
Yeah.
It got worse from last year. You and I covered the game when Mike Malone from the Nuggets last year said, can it be? I don't think it can be fixed. Well, I think a year later we found out it can get worse.
Yeah, way worse.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. We haven't even started talking about the weekend that preceded that, as far as like the events that led up to the All-Star game. The game sucked.
Hey, Doc Rivers going to win, though.
Oh,
Does that go on his regular record?
No, he's still 3-7 at the break. He's been awful with his Milwaukee Bucks. But it was disappointing to see that. If you're thinking of how we grew up in the 80s and 90s, seeing it where they played hard. They were talking about saying, well, if you give the guys more money if they win, how much more money can you give the guys? So Jaylen Brown makes 67, almost 70 this year, and he's average. He's a good player. Still can't dribble with his left hand.
And he can't win the dunk contest.
Come on, I mean, you want to give them a million to win?
Was it Raising Cane's?
Yeah. Now listen, I told you how I felt about it last year, talking about the dunk contest or whatever that was. Yeah. But that's 2 years in a row now. Mac McClung, you're not on an NBA roster. I have a hard time with it. I know he's in the G League, so he's affiliated. And I'm not listening. Obviously, I'm not a geography major, but I'm trying to figure out his resume. He plays for the Osceola Magic. Okay, I would love to know where that is. I have no idea.
Osceola?
I have no idea where that is. But of course, McClung, the whole thing, like with Shaq with the ball, and he jumped over Shaq with the McClung jersey on. Yeah. Stop it now. You're not even on a roster. I think Obi.
Well, who's the idiot? The people who let him in it. He's doing great.
Jaylen Brown didn't win it. Obi Toppin's brother, Jacob Toppin, was in it. Obi Toppin was one of the best dunkers from a couple of years ago, and his little brother was in it. Played at URI, by the way. He started his career at URI.
Oh, good to know.
So that dunk contest was just like, I mean, you said it last week. Well, then what's the point? Do away with it. If it's going to be like this, if we have to see that, then do away with it.
Right. And I didn't see Jaylen. I was out at Avenue N, I think, and I just saw the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I thought he'd be a shoo-in. Yeah. He actually plays, and he's a pretty solid dunker. But I guess that.
The only thing I will say, and of course, I don't like the whole McClung not being on a roster. It does bother me because I'm a purist. But I mean, they list him at 6'2". He looks like 5'11", 6 feet, but he can leap. I mean, he's got serious ups. Yeah. I mean, he did get up to Shaq. He did not enough to get in the league, but he did get up to Shaq, who's 7'1", took the ball off him and then threw it down legit. It wasn't a throwdown. He dunked it. Yeah. So, very disappointing that whole weekend. But it's nice to see that, obviously, Jess, we're back to basketball with about 25 to 30 games left for the rest of the season for all these teams. The Celtics got back to work Thursday night with a 129-112 win over the Bulls. Derek White led the way with 28. He was terrific again.
I know, he really is consistent.
And the Celtics lay at 44-12, winners of 7 straight games. And I know you're going to laugh at me, but I finally got to see the X-Man. Xavier Tillman got a couple of minutes at the end of the game because he's just getting into shape. He's been hurt. So he played only the final 3 minutes, but I saw a nice up and under basket and a block shot. He looks like a guy, and I know it was this little small sample at the end of a blowout versus the Bulls. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to help them. I think he can play elite defense down on the interior and really help the Celtics. He could be a good bench piece going forward for the rest of the year.
You know who the best player in the NBA is?
No.
Who do you think's the best player in the NBA right now?
Myself.
Have you always had that kind of confidence? Because I asked you that question a year ago and you said it was Giannis. So what's given you that confidence?
I got a lot of respect for a lot of guys in the league.
Yeah.
Giannis for sure. Jokic obviously just won. Embiid, guys that won MVPs. And the list goes on. The league is in a great place. I truly do believe every time I step on the floor, I'm the best player.
So we got the best player, Jason Tatum. So we should be winning everything this season. Okay. We got the best in the league.
Get a ring.
Yeah, I know.
Get a ring. And I don't mean get to the finals. Win a ring.
Yeah.
Get a title. Jaylen Brown was talking a few years ago where they were going to win 7 or 8. They haven't won 1.
Yeah.
Win it all.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you got the supporting guys, and you're never going to be any better than you are right now. With Holiday and Porzingis as your 3rd and 4th guys, Derek White's your 5th guy. That starting 5 could almost afford, God forbid, an injury. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. But
Why would you put that out there?
I'm saying they're deep enough in that starting 5 where they could survive it. And let me tell you something. They better win it now because their window could close. Even though they're still a young team, you got a guy like Derek White who's playing himself right out of Boston.
Yeah, I know.
Because, I mean, he's playing like a $20 million player. This guy's making more than he's been terrific, and all of those guys could have been all-stars. That whole starting 5 could have been the all-star team. Porzingis has been terrific when he's in there.
You don't want to get him hurt.
No, so I mean, I think that they can only get in their own way. With Tillman now coming off the bench, you got Horford, Of course, Pritchard's been playing well.
Mm-hmm.
And, even Cornette, he had double figures against the Bulls the other night. He's been playing really well.
Yeah, well, since the haircut. He probably can get a little higher up when he's doing those
accentuated
dunks.
a little bit
well,
more.
Listen, those sideburns needed some trims.
But I love what the Celtics are doing. Of course, as I said, winners of 7 straight. And on the other side, in the Western Conference, you got the Dallas Mavericks playing good basketball. They're winners of 7 straight. They made some deals at the trade deadline, picking up P.J. Washington and getting rid of the cancer in the clubhouse, who appeared to be Grant Williams. No surprise there. They're winners of 7 straight, and they had a 123-113 win over the Suns on Thursday night, where Kyrie and Luka combined for 70 points. Luka had 41. So the Mavs are playing really good basketball. They're a team, I'm going to tell you, look out for them in the West, even though I told you don't give up on Golden State yet. We're going to see how that all plays out.
And do you think the Suns are in there for
Jess,
that or no?
You're always talking about like Durant being paper thin, and he is soft, but he's been durable this year. It's always one of the other guys. It always seems like Booker goes down for a game. Bradley Beal didn't play in this game with a hamstring. It's always, they can never get the 3 of them in there together. But if they can get those 3 guys healthy for the postseason, they could make a run. The season ended today. It would be like Golden State, the Lakers, and even the Suns down there, almost playing in like a round robin play-in type thing. So they're not even in the top 8 like in the standings. The West is loaded. You got Zion with the Pelicans. He's been healthy so far with McCollum. There's so many good teams out west, so it's very competitive. And don't forget, the Joker did win it all last year, so you can't rule them out.
I like him in what's his name, Luka's banter back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, do you see how they're just messing with each other all the time?
Yeah.
I actually really like that. Last thing, did you see the video of Durant going after 2 fans? He didn't go after them, but he ran out on the court and they called him a B. And he literally turned around and he went up to them, and they were just like, "Oh crap, he's like actually coming up to us." And they're like, "We're just kidding." They went to like slap his hand, and he was just like, "No." So to me, I always say he's paper thin, but when he was going up to those like normal fans, it was very intimidating. They had to get security to take him back a little bit.
Okay, so I actually missed that, Jess, but I feel like I caught part of something about him because I heard something this week about he was quoted as saying something like, maybe I'm not the most charismatic guy in the league as far as like other players, and I don't know if that was piggybacked off of this incident where there was a problem. I didn't know about it, but he's. I mean, listen, I'm a Durant guy. He's one of the top 10, 15 offensive players of all time. He's terrific. I think that he needs to win, not needs, but to validate his career, even though he had the 2 rings with Golden State, everyone knows he was ring jumping to go there. They were already good without him, even though he did win Finals MVP both of those years. His problem was the problem with him was trying to make his own team. The whole thing with Harden and Kyrie, he got in bed with the wrong guys there.
Yes, 100%.
So like right now, I feel like this team, if he could win it with Phoenix, it's his team.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't put it together this time. He was traded for, so he didn't have the pressure of trying to live up to something.
Right.
Keep guys in line. He was brought over to do a job, and of course they Booker was already there, and they added Beal. So I don't think Phoenix is going to win it this year, but he's in the hunt. He is getting a little long in the tooth also.
Yeah, right. Running out of time there. All right, speaking of running out of time, that wraps up the NBA. You feel good about it?
Yeah.
Let's go into your Red Sox.
Everybody knows what we need. You know what we need, and they know what we need. It's just some things that I can't say out loud, but everybody that knows the organization and knows the game know what we need.
Did you express that to them yesterday?
Que si les has dicho eso a ellos ayer o en estos días.
Tan hoy entramos a una conversación y le toqué el tema, pero no le toqué el tema, sí.
Yeah, I talked to them. Yeah, you know.
Your boy Devers, he is upset, although I really do believe interpreters can pretty much say whatever they want, because if I can't understand what they're saying, I would be like, he sounded like his answer for the second part was a lot longer than what the interpreter said. He was like, so you're upset about this? And he said everything I say, and the interpreter was like, yes.
If I knew you were going to play that, I would have brought Stefan and Marlon in from the kitchen at the Trattoria, because I don't really have a clue. But obviously the moral of the story is he's seeing that the Red Sox, have needs, and they have not addressed those needs.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, I'm okay with him speaking up, even with the translator and the interpreter. I think Rafael Devers needs to I don't want to say worry about Rafael Devers, but he had an okay year last year. He got paid. He got his $300+ million contract. He's an abomination at third base defensively. He's a first baseman DH waiting to happen if he doesn't get it together at the hot corner. Okay? And offensively, he had an okay year. I think he had 30 homers, 100 RBIs, usually where he's at. But he used to hit 320, 315. He was in like his batting average was in the 230s for a lot of the season. He did get it up there near the end to respectability. But I think he needs to do more himself, okay? And then the pieces around him right now, it just doesn't, it's not going to be there now. I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
But can that bring you down as a player? Like, I have to do everything for this team. And for baseball, I mean, that's a lot to have to carry. I mean, there's a lot of people on the field. There's a lot of extra hitters. Like, you go out there and you're just like, this is what they're giving me, and this is what I have to go out there with. And like the coaches and the owners are saying like, well, you're probably not going to even make the playoffs this year. Like, what do you have to look forward to?
I think I agree with you, and I also can say to you, he didn't have to sign that extension. He could have done what all the other guys did.
They probably promised him more.
Bogarts walked as a free agent. Betts got his way out of town. He said he was going to test the market, and he never did. So he's disingenuous. He didn't want to be a Red Sox. So the homegrown guys, it's an organizational issue here. It's a John Henry thing. It's not Breslow's fault, but it's a John Henry thing. He doesn't want to spend the money. Trust me, they didn't want to spend the money on you either, Rafael Devers. They did it because he was the last star-type player they had, and then nobody would go to the ballpark.
Right.
So, I mean, he's not wrong. But, like, this looks like right now they're already tanking 24 before you get to 25. The theme of the offseason so far is the Red Sox continue to sign pitchers that don't pitch.
Right.
Okay, so like
not this year anyway.
The latest one I told you, Michael Fulmer, 2-year minor league deal from the Cubs. He can't pitch till 25, and the Red Sox just signed former Chicago White Sox closer Liam Hendricks. Okay, to a 2-year deal for up to $15 million. He's out for the season. Now I don't want to make fun of this because he's coming off Tommy John surgery, but he also beat stage 4 cancer he had 2 years ago to come back and have a good year with Chicago. So he beat that. God bless him.
Right.
But then he came back and now he had Tommy John surgery. He's going to be a Red Sox potential closer in 25. But again, you're paying for production down the road. They did it with James Paxton, the Big Maple, a couple of years ago. They gave him a 2-year deal when he only pitched one season for them. So I'm not seeing the philosophy here. It just looks like they're already throwing away 24 before we even started. I've been hearing rumors about guys that they could add right now, even though it's spring training. Jordan Montgomery's still out there, the left-handed pitcher formerly of the Yankees who won a World Series championship with the Rangers. He's out there. His wife lives in Boston. Everybody thought there was a fit. Nothing. Blake Snell, they don't want to pay the money for him. They don't trust him.
Oh.
So then I heard Gio Urshela, who's a utility guy, used to play for the Yankees, third baseman. He was out there for anybody. He signs with the Detroit Tigers, who are going nowhere fast. So what?
Maybe they are going faster than the Red Sox are going.
What is going on? It's troubling.
Yeah, because my thing is, you are a diehard Red Sox fan. What is going to make you want to go to Fenway besides take me to see the Yankees beat them? Like, are you going to go to the games to see like who are they playing? Who are we going to lose to today? To see other stars? Because that's basically what it is. It's the history. It's you getting your peanuts, hanging out, taking a selfie with the Paulie, and then drinking some beer that is way too expensive.
Yeah, and going to Capitol Grill with Voight because he doesn't realize that there's one in Providence, so we go to the one in Boston. But I'm going to get scolded for saying his last name, but too bad I said it.
We're going to have to edit that
out. But no, I mean, obviously you're going for the smells of it and the love of the game because you're not going to see a team that's going to be contending. It's hot. And I told you late in the season he was getting those mint seats, 4 rows from the on-deck circle.
He's going to be on the field now.
And I think him and I actually that night went to the Capitol Grill in Providence. I actually told him there was one in Providence. We went to that one. We gave the tickets away to someone else. I didn't want to go on the cuff.
Right. That's not great.
No.
I mean, that's sad. But who knows? Like, who knows? Maybe they will have it. They may surprise you all and win 92 games.
I'll find someone to follow like Cassis. There's another guy there's already talk about giving him a long-term extension, buying out some of those arbitration years. He said the first offer, no. So already he's shunning us, and he's not even eligible for the big payday yet. So I don't know what's going on. I think Henry should just sell the team at this point.
He's not doing great.
If you're not in there, if you're not in it, then
why
get
bother?
rid of it. Yeah.
I do have one thing to say about my Yankees that is upsetting, and I'm disappointed. I was on Instagram, so they have, Judge coming to the field. He has these sparkling white Jordans on. Yeah. Then you have someone else coming. I'm like, the rookie, not the rookie, the new shortstop, Volpe.
Yeah.
He was looking sharp, and then they put Gleyber Torres in there with his dirty Jordans. Dirty.
Oh, wow.
They're blue and white and dirt all over them. If you are not going to respect the shoe, I do not respect you.
My partner, she's all over the MJs.
I said,
disrespecting the MJs?
I literally zoomed in. I'm just like, Gleyber, you're on the list right now, buddy. So
it's funny. He just came out and made a comment about, obviously, some contract talks with the Yankees, and he, obviously who knows what's going to happen in the future. I think he's been a little bit of a disappointment. He's been up and down, but he did say he'd like to, he wants to be a Yankee and stay a Yankee forever. So
I'll take that.
No,
Just
I like
clean your
hearing
shoes.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Dirty thing.
It's a shoe issue.
So I do have a little note. So I went to see Godson earlier in this week, and I wanted to provide him with his sweatshirt, and I was just like, we got to figure out something more for you to cover. And so we're going to have a new feature. It's going to be called Godson's Best Bets, working on the audio. But I wanted to give you a little preview of what he thought about the AL American League. All right, here he goes. His MLB preview. He's going with the Yankees winning the East, the Tigers winning the Central Division, the West will be the Mariners, the wild cards will be Astros, Blue Jays, and Orioles. He said the American League MVP is going to be Juan Soto.
Okay.
Take that of the Yankees. Rookie of the Year is going Jackson Holliday of the Orioles, and the Cy Young Award winner will be George Kirby of the Mariners. So those are his picks of the MLB preview.
Okay, so obviously, of course, as we get closer to the regular season, get through spring training, I'll have more of an in-depth as far as all-around baseball and some players to watch and all of that. But you might have to help me out because I'm trying to retain everything you just said there on that list. So, of course, he likes the Yankees in the East.
Yes.
And I can't argue with that. I think it's the most competitive division.
And we better win before Boone.
After the Orioles won 101 last year, don't forget about them. Don't sneeze on it. I guess he's got them in as a wild card.
Yes.
So, of course, the Orioles are still good. Tampa's always going to do their thing. So, I do like the Yankees as a pick. I like, to be honest with you, I'm not going to say I agree with him, but I like his reach to go with the Tigers. I think he's tired probably of seeing like the Twins up there and the Indians every year, and they kind of like just, they do their thing, but that division's ready to be had for 83, 84 wins. The Tigers, I think they're maybe another year away under A.J. Hinch, but they've made some moves. They just picked up, as we said, the aforementioned Gio Urshela. That's a surprising pick. My surprise team in the Central is Kansas City. I'm going to get into them as spring training evolves. They just signed Bobby Witt Jr. to that 11-year, $288 million extension.
Good for him.
But he likes the Detroit Tigers. It's a sleeper pick, but it's interesting. And then he goes with the Seattle Mariners out west. So he likes them as leapfrogging the Astros. And, of course, the Astros still getting in as a wild card. And the Blue Jays, who have been sort of a disappointment to me. The Blue Jays always seem to come up short, but he's still got them getting in the postseason. I told you, look out for the value of Justin Turner coming over from the Red Sox as a locker room guy.
I know.
For guys like Bichette and Guerrero. So that's going to be interesting there. So, and obviously his individual awards, he likes Soto. I can't argue with one of the best eyes in baseball and one of the best pure hitters in baseball. I'm going to tell you a problem the Yankees will have, though.
All right, tell you quick because we have 9 minutes and we have
tell you what
four more
their
features.
problem is going to be if they keep Judge in center. That's a lot for him to do. They got him slated to play center field. Soto's not great defensively. Verdugo's not great defensively. One of those guys should play center. They're saying that they want to keep him in center because he gets hurt when he plays right. I think it's too much ground for a 6'7" guy to play.
Yeah.
But Soto as MVP, I have no argument there. Jackson Holliday of the Orioles, one of the great talents. Orioles have been drafting great, getting great players. And, of course, George Kirby is the Cy Young. That's a little bit of a dark horse. I like the fact he I don't want to say he's reaching, but he's going with some guys outside of the box instead of the Garrett Coles and the chalk guys. So
that's why Godson knew.
I do like what he's doing there.
All right, next week we'll cover the National League, but we got to thank our sponsors, and we got 8 minutes. Yeah, this is a lot.
Keeping score with Jess and Dean the Dream, sponsored by
Generations Adult Day Health Center. Generations is a day facility in Smithfield that provides services to meet the needs of adults with disabilities and the elderly. Their staff provides a range of adult day health services, such as case management, nursing, healthcare, nutrition, and more. At Generations, you're taken care of with registered nurses, certified nursing assistants, and plenty of direct care support staff on the floors at all times. With nearly 30,000 square feet of space, the state-of-the-art facility includes an open dining room, spacious physical and occupational therapy suites, a fully equipped gym and exercise room, and a TV movie theater, just to name a few. To find out more, visit generationsri.com. That's generationsri.com. Prout Mechanical in Providence, a family-owned and operated business. They provide HVAC installations, replacements, and maintenance services. They also offer indoor quality services to make sure that your home remains healthy and safe. They have licensed and trained technicians to keep up with industry standards and technology. They're also an authorized Mitsubishi Electric Diamond Elite contractor, so they can provide the best heating and cooling solutions. So get in touch with them today. Visit ProutHVAC.com. That's ProutHVAC.com, or call them at 487-4343 for a free estimate. It's the hidden gem in the historic district of East Greenwich, the Oaks Tavern on Duke Street, a laid-back, welcoming atmosphere with some of the lowest drink prices in town. Described as a grade A dive bar, complete with free pool, a jukebox, air hockey, and a great place to meet after work. It's a place where the staff treats everyone like regulars, and regulars treat you like family. Visit the last hometown tavern in East Greenwich. Check out the Oaks Tavern, serving cold beer since 1896. All right, let's get to hockey. Go, go, go!
All right, Jess, real quick. The Bruins, I thought they finally figured out that overtime thing. They won a couple of games in overtime, then lost to Calgary the other night in overtime 3-2. Charlie Coyle had 2 goals in the game. Bruins have been a little bit better lately, but still 34-12-12. A lot of those overtime games, they're extending themselves. That kind of takes your stamina away when you're going down the stretch.
Right.
But I'm going to shift over to the Toronto Maple Leafs, another Bruins type team, great during the regular season, 32-16. Austin Matthews, I just want to say he's on an iconic record pace, 52 goals already in 56 games.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's got 10 over the last 5 games. He's been off the charts in a 7-3 win over the Vegas Knights. He had a hat trick. He's been great. But again, Toronto, another team, can't win in the postseason. But that's my quick hockey note for the week.
Very good. Going to birthdays. It is Sunday, February 25th. Who we got?
All right, for athletes, I've got Joakim Noah, son of Yannick Noah, who was a tennis player in the 80s. He played against McEnroe, Connors, Beyond Board.
Those are the names I know.
Yeah, but Joakim Noah was a 2-time NCAA champion.
Agassi.
Playing for Billy Donovan at Florida. He had a long NBA career, 14 years in the NBA. He is 39 years old today. One of your favorite players, Paul O'Neill, is 61.
Yay, and so handsome.
17 years, 5 World Series championships, 4 with the New York Yankees, a 288 lifetime hitter. Shifting over, obviously 2 announcers. James Brown is 73. I love James Brown. Class act. NFL Today on CBS.
Feel good.
Harvard graduate, not that James Brown. And Billy Packer. Billy Packer, born in 1940, passed away last year. He was one of the great color guys doing NCAA tournament on NBC and CBS. Used to team up with Jim Nantz, Al McGuire. Billy Packer, one of the best. Shifting over to the entertainment side real quick. George Harrison, late of the Beatles, 1943.
And he had his own solo career
He
as
did.
well.
My mindset on you.
I got my mindset on you.
Sean Astin is 53.
Goonies.
The Goonies, but I see him as Rudy.
Oh, that's
1993,
true.
Steve, if you haven't seen that one, I got to maybe see if I can fish that one out, but that's a classic.
That's a VHS.
And I got an Italian actress for you who I loved her when she was young, was Tia Leone.
Oh, yes.
Okay, she is 58. Bad Boys, she gets assassinated in the early part of that movie. She was
you
young.
just ruined it for everybody.
Well, at least it wasn't the end. And I look at her, obviously 2014 to 19, she was the show Madam Secretary, and she was also the first baseman for Racine in the movie A League of Their Own.
Wasn't she married to David Duchovny as well?
I didn't know that.
Tia Leone?
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to look it up.
She was pretty hot.
Yeah.
She's pretty hot. I liked her.
Yeah.
Those are my birthdays for February 25th.
Very nice. I do have clips from PC, but we're running out of time, so let's
Am I
get
blasting,
into.
though? I'm blasting,
you're blasting.
though,
You're
right?
doing a great blast.
Oh, thank
you
you.
do. You're crushing it. Let's get to the PC news. Winning over Xavier the other night. Big game, big win. Got nervous with Oduro having so many fouls so early in the game, but Pierre coming on strong.
17 points. You need another guy, especially on a night where Oduro had 9. And I know you've been tough. You've been tough on ticket gains lately. He hasn't been making the shots.
He hasn't.
But let me tell you something. Late in the game, when Desmond Claude, who's a local kid actually from Massachusetts prep school, I think he got a little nonchalant, and Ticket said, "You know what? Right in your face, Jess Schiano, because you've been tough on him lately." And not only did he get the clean block,
he did.
Okay, he went down to the other end and hit the 2 free throws to ice the game.
Right, but he missed the other three-pointer in the corner that he could have
All right,
hit.
so he missed a 3-point. He made 2 free throws with the money on the
I
line.
know.
And I am getting sick and
I
tired of
text
all these experts. Jerry Palm of CBS, Joe Lunardi. They're usually right, but I'm tired of hearing that PC's on the outside looking in right now. 18-9, 9-7 in the Big East with 4 games left. They got a week off until they play Marquette on Wednesday. That's going to be a tough one. But I'm loving this team. They've given us hope, and despite the whole Bryce Hopkins thing, they have not quit. They've stayed the course.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing them play and them being in the Big East tournament and us talking about them on the road show. I do have a clip from Patino apologizing, but it's a minute long, so we don't kind of have that time. We could save it for another day. I want to do anything else you want to do in basketball before we do shout-outs with 1 minute?
Well, Well, wait, you got the local stuff going on. You got Cranston West is playing Lincoln. Lincoln didn't lose all year, so you got Division II getting going.
Yep.
Johnson, I think, has got a tough game coming up against, I believe it's Shea or Tolman. There's a bunch of games. It's very, very competitive in D2. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to in the next week or so.
All right, let's get to your final story of the day. I know we've been trying to get to this for the last 3 weeks. What's your football story?
No, we have to save that. We don't have enough time. We just don't. I mean, do we?
A minute 30?
No.
All right, so you want to talk about
By the way,
anything on TV?
just to verify, Johnston, to clarify, is playing Rogers in the playoff game. Okay. And I did say our Cranston West Falcons are playing with the kid Aponte.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing Lincoln, so that's gonna be a real tough one. So no, I mean, as far as other stuff that we've got going on, we're very busy.
Yes, we're going to be on. We should just do a little sneak preview. We're going to be on the road show on March 13th. We're going to be talking about the Big East tournament in PC, and then we're going to be doing a live broadcast from the Oaks Tavern in East Greenwich on March 23rd. It's a Saturday. We're going to be there right around 1 o'clock doing our show live, and we're very excited about those two things on the docket for Keeping Score with Jess and Dean.
No, we're booked.
Yeah, we really are booked, and then I'm going to have to figure out a way to get you Apple Plus. Oh my God, Apple TV Plus. This is, you know how many phone calls Steve's on? I'm going to give him your number so you can just go.
By the way, you know I always.
What input do I put? What input do I
That's what Jerry does that with Newman. No, I'm not here. By the way, you know I love to correct myself when I do make mistakes. And Droops did say when I was talking to Steve last week about Bronx Tale, it was 1993, not 1994. But I was still in my.
Everybody was pissed.
I was still in my 11th year at Rick at the time. It doesn't matter with 10th or 11th year. I was still a 9th year junior. It didn't really matter.
And you're still not a doctor. This is Keeping Score with Jess and Dean, The Dream. Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. on 790 The Score. We're on Instagram. We're on social media. We are on anywhere you can find your podcasts, and we are done. Whew, that was a tight one. I know.